Friday, November 18th, 2022 was one of the worst days of my entire life. One moment I'm just enjoying my day, and then the next, panic, disbelief, distress, rage, sorrow. These were my immediate emotions to having my YouTube channel that I've dedicated everything for suddenly terminated without warning or cause. How would you feel if this happened to you? So how did this happen? Let's go into how I went from having a perfect record with no strikes or warnings in my 4 years of full-time content to having my channel completely terminated, banned, gone, just like that. The full emotional play-by-play, the emails YouTube sent me, and the process I underwent to get my channel back. This being such an emotional and vulnerable story, and so I don't feel like a complete wuss twice, I felt that it'd be best told by combining this story with a more intriguing one that I was going to tell soon. Because whether you know me or not, you probably don't know the sad origins of this channel. Let's for a moment flash back to a time where I knew I needed to start my YouTube channel. Many of the regulars here know that I was homeless for quite some time from a house fire. This may have been a very overwhelming time to many, but for me at the time, I was handling it all in stride. Though it was definitely stressful, and there was times that I had to sleep in my car when I couldn't bounce from couch to couch, I was still able to work a good 60-hour work week and still get my 1 hour of reading in and 4 workouts a week. Though when you're homeless, people just have advice for you. During this time, I was staying at a family member's, and after a very emotional talk about my future, I realized that I couldn't listen to any of it. None of it made any damn sense, and if I cared about being happy, I had to just ignore it and do my own thing. So I sat down at this really big table, pulled out some notepads, and I found this list that I compiled of the deepest, hardest questions that I ever found. It took me years to compile this list. After quite literally an entire night as a homeless nobody, I somehow managed to come to the conclusion that everything that I've ever done in my life somehow perfectly trained me to be the perfect YouTube gaming star. Naturally, I said, this makes less sense than what they said, and ignored it. I kept working and eventually found a place, and life was good for a while. Let's skip forward more than a year to when I made my channel. So the reality of the situation is that this time in my life was the darkest, saddest, and most tragic time of my entire life. But we won't get into that here today. After about 6 months of being unable to work, sleep, eat, or do anything I enjoyed, I knew that things were getting bad. During this time though, I always was gaming. I played a lot of Fortnite at the time, and it was definitely just an escape for me. Before long, a lot of my old gaming skills that I had before high school started flooding back to me, and it was almost like I never stopped. It may sound silly or arrogant, but I was watching this video where Mr. Beast gave money to streamers, and I just felt inspired, so I went and I started searching a few streams, and I found Ninja's live streams, and they were just having these huge viral success, and for a moment I could just see it. I could see that what I wrote down on that paper way back when was not only possible, but if anyone could do it, it was me. I didn't just think this and tell my friends. No, I started making a plan. That brings us to April 8th, 2018. I started my YouTube channel this day with intent. I told nobody but my boss that in about a year he can expect me to be doing this full time, which he kind of just smiled, said, and walked away. I started working a part-time schedule again, which to be honest, I could barely handle it, and poured every other minute I had into just full-time YouTube. I lived as cheaply as possible and just tried my best to make it work. At the end of January 2020, I made a risky call. With only a couple months saved in the bank and in poor health, I quit my job as a dead-end assistant manager at some local restaurant to pursue full-time YouTube streaming. My YouTube channel at the time had just started growing a bit faster, but it was still very small with just about 4,000 subscribers. Yet I felt confident enough that this was it. This is what I wanted to do in life, and I don't know if you've ever had a dream or passion. Most of my life, I've always felt lost, and for the first time in my life, it felt like I found my path. And this was it. This was my dream, and I had a long-term plan. So I put my neck on the line and I took that leap of faith. So what was my plan? Well, that could be a video of its own. But the next step of my plan in its simplest form was, instead of streaming on Twitch, which at the time was the main streaming platform and where most of the viewership was, I was going to instead dominate YouTube's search for the Apex live stream category and also become the #1 Apex Legends live event central hub. Simple, right? Wrong. Every YouTube channel across the board is also trying to do those same things. To achieve this, I took a lot of actions. I started dedicating my entire schedule around live streaming long hours, 6-7 days a week. I shifted from a night stream to a day stream so that I could build an audience when I wanted to have them watch me, which was the right time for the Apex events. I made sure that I had the best titles on YouTube. I made sure that anytime someone clicked on my stream that they were immediately enjoying it and they never wanted to leave. So in other words, I wanted to have the best content I could and just be myself doing it. So did my plan work? February 4th, 2020, just a couple weeks after leaving my job, I knew that this was going to be a big day for me. The prior few Apex events did increasingly well for me, and the one thing I noticed at the time was that a lot of the top YouTube streamers that played Apex at the time left YouTube for Twitch. That day, I had what you could call a career day. When the event dropped, I peaked at over 5.5 thousand concurrent viewers. Not only was this my first day ever hitting over 1,000 viewers concurrently, on a total, it was my first time ever getting over 100,000 views in a single day. I felt on top of the world. It felt truly amazing, and though I knew that I was going to come back down to earth in a sense the following days, it really gave the channel an insane boost, gaining over 4,000 subscribers in a single day. Each Apex event and content drop providing boost to the channel, I really started to take over the events, which leads us into the Season 5 drop, May 12th. With as much momentum as the channel had, I knew that this was going to be another career day, but what I didn't expect is just how much so it would be. When that event dropped, we hit over 16,000 concurrent viewers. I couldn't believe it. It was so exhilarating. Chat was moving so fast, it was just unreadable. And then, in what I can only describe as getting stabbed mid-blowjob, about 2 hours into the event, my internet service just goes down for the entire area and does not return. Though this was a heart-wrenching ending, that day we hit over 350,000 views in total, gaining a whopping 9,000 subscribers that single day. And I can only imagine how many more it would have gotten if the crash not happened. That day changed things for me. Every stream was popping. Every event was amazing. Content started flowing like never before, and I really got into a groove. During this time, I would often get questions like, what is it like to have made it? And I always replied, I'll let you know when I find out. Because to me, YouTube success, or any real success in YouTube, is doing this for a long time. See, with any success in YouTube, you must continue to re-innovate and find new ways to provide value and bring people in if you want to last for years. My biggest mistake in the next coming year and a half is that I did not do this. I got comfortable, I got lazier, and after some of the best years of my life, I kinda got complacent with a moment with Apex. Slowly over time, Apex started to get more competitive and the interest started to die down a little bit. My momentum did fall a little bit with Apex. I'd be lying if I said I never felt like quitting. There's been many times throughout my journey that I felt like maybe this is it for me. But I wasn't gonna let the death of Apex get me, so the last few months I've been working really hard off stream, planning for the next chapter of this channel and doing some variety on stream, which has been growing more and more. I knew that things are never guaranteed, and if I just continued learning my craft and just practicing every day, worked really hard on it, and I just never gave up, whether it's next year or next decade, I was gonna have my dream a reality. That was until I got this email. November 18th was a normal day for me. I was just hanging out about to edit a video when I clicked on my channel icon and noticed a red banner go across the top saying that my account has been terminated for severe or repetitive violations of the community guidelines. Immediately I think, that's weird. That must be a mistake. So I just closed the app and I restart it. And I'll be honest, I was so startled, I thought, let's just restart the whole PC. It gave me a good scare. That was weird. Let's just turn it off, turn it back on again, and everything will be fine, back to normal. But as my PC's turning on, my phone starts blowing up. People are saying that they got this email and that when they checked, my channel was gone. I immediately start to panic, and I quickly as could went to my email and read this. RoboHoboProductions. We have removed your channel from YouTube. Hi, RoboHoboProductions. We have reviewed your content and found severe or repeated violations of our community guidelines. Because of this, we have removed your channel from YouTube. We know that this is probably very upsetting news, but it's our job to make sure that YouTube is a safe place for all. Goes in, it says, if we think a channel severely violates our policies, we take it down to protect other users on the platform. But if you believe we've made the wrong call, you can appeal this decision. You'll find out more information about the policy in question and how to submit appeal below. What our policy says: spam, scams, or commercially deceptive content are not allowed on YouTube. How this affects your channel. We have permanently removed your channel from YouTube. Going forward, you won't be able to access, possess, or create any other YouTube channels. What you can do next? There are steps that you can take if you want to appeal this decision. Review YouTube's community guidelines. Appeal here. If you have any further questions, please reach out. So after contacting literally everyone I knew to get as much information on what to do next as I could, I clearly only had one step next. File the appeal and then make an uproar on Twitter so that a real human can see the appeal. Feels often it's just handled by bots. If you're wondering how this process works on YouTube, here's a quick rundown. Every channel can get up to 3 strikes in a 90-day period. If you do something wrong, you may get a warning, which you can appeal, or a strike, which you can appeal. If you get strikes, they can limit your monetization. If you get 3 strikes in a 90-day period, your channel gets permanently taken off of YouTube, which means you could still technically get 3 strikes and not have your channel taken down. My channel went from never getting a warning or strike to completely gone. So I had 1,000 characters to make this appeal and save my entire life. After submitting it and making this tweet, I had no choice but to wait. Up until this point, I was stressed, panicked, and a bit overwhelmed, but I was still hopeful. Hopeful because I knew that I did nothing wrong, and that this had to be some kind of mistake and everything will be fixed. Everyone around me was assuring the same thing, but I'll tell you this, sitting there, waiting for an email to come that could tell me that my entire life, everything that I worked for, everything that I dreamed of was over and I could never do it again? This had me in a straight mental breakdown. The worry, the stress made me violently ill. I couldn't keep any food down and was just bedridden. I was told that it could take 2 to 3 days before the appeal gets seen. This was not the case because in less than 24 hours, I got this heartbreaking email. Hello, thank you for your account suspension appeal. We have decided to keep your account suspended based on our community guidelines and terms of service. Please do not respond to this email. Replies to this email will not be processed. Sincerely, the team YouTube. Upon reading this, I quite literally collapsed. I was devastated. So I immediately went to live chat and I started talking to the live agent, and I basically just did my appeal again. I know to some that this wouldn't have been much, but just the fact that I was talking to a real person, finally, and the things that he was saying, like, yeah, you're right, this doesn't make any sense. It would have had to been something pretty severe to make your channel disappear without warning. I will pass this off internally and someone will help you restore your channel. And just the way he's wording this, it just was so very comforting. And in contrast to these horrible automated emails that had no information in them, I finally had hope again. It was a long day and a half wait, just waiting for the email. I hadn't eaten in days and I just felt so weak, but I couldn't stop pacing, waiting for the email. When suddenly my phone just starts erupting. Is it back? Yay. What does this mean? Does this mean what I think it means? So I just run to my email and I read this. Hi, RoboHoboProductions. We have reviewed your appeal for the following. Channel RoboHoboProductions. After taking another look, we can confirm that your channel does not violate our community guidelines. Thank you for your patience while we reviewed this appeal. Our goal is to make sure content doesn't violate our community guidelines so that YouTube can be a safe place for all. Sometimes we make mistakes trying to get it right. We're sorry for any frustration our mistake caused you, and we appreciate you letting us know how this affects your channel. To make this right, we've put your channel back on YouTube. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us here. Thanks, the YouTube team. Before this moment, I always thought that tears of happiness was like a fake movie cliche mostly. I guess I should have known that I was gonna cry no matter what this email said, but after reading it, I just started flat out bawling in one of the most emotional moments I've ever had in my entire life. In a lot of ways, YouTube and streaming has really saved my life, and it really felt that it was going to, for a moment, be taken all away. So when I say in this video, I get to live, I'm not being dramatic. Okay, maybe a tad dramatic. So will this have any effect on your channel? In short, yes. Though YouTube found no violations of community guidelines, so I didn't get any new warnings or strikes, the fact that every single one of my videos lost all flow of traffic has had a huge negative impact on every video on my channel. This has also impacted my reach of non-subscribers as well, and in a period that the channel had low momentum, this really hurts. But having the channel almost terminated for nothing really puts these things into perspective. Sure, it might take a little time to regain momentum, but with the next chapter of the channel being thrusted upon us, and me doing my best to diversify outside of just YouTube, I believe that things are going to be more than just okay. I am so incredibly thankful to be able to provide content for you guys still. As tough, scary, and uncertain YouTube can be at times, this really is my dream, and I can't thank you enough for everyone's support.